Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News, May 4th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, first thing this morning, actually like around 3 a.m., the sun was blowing off more coronal mass ejections. And this sunspot, which was 2738 and 2739, has been renamed to 2740, simply because it has moved full circle all the way around the backside of the sun. And in approximately 7 days, it is going to be Earth-facing once again. If you just give me a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get the live chat set up so I could see everything here. And I have quite a bit of news for you. We also had another visual, another Planet X detection, and you can see it up on your screen now in my thumbnail. But we're going to give some people some time to get their notifications. We have some news about YouTube, which is just absolutely fantastic. Not so damn good for them, but good for creators and also good for the truth community. So let me go ahead and get that all set up. And yeah, folks, first thing this morning, I think it was about 3:30 in the morning. I was just getting up, just got to my computer and started looking at a few things. First thing I noticed, bingo, 2 big coronal mass ejections on the back side of the sun. Well, actually, if we're looking at the sun, it would be coming from the left side of the sun. I believe that's the eastern limb of the sun. And once again, this is coming from this sunspot, which was 2738. Now, they have renamed it because it's going to be coming back around, and its new number is 2740. And I'm going to be quite frank with all of you, and I haven't seen a sunspot like this regenerate. See, folks, whenever we were watching that sunspot 2 weeks ago, as it was getting ready to turn towards Earth, it degraded. It degraded very, very rapidly. And as it was turning towards Earth, that's when the degrading started. It was enough for no coronal mass ejections, no activity, no nothing. It was silent. It made its way across the front face of the sun and started making its way around the right side of the sun as we are looking at the sun from Earth. As it got back to the backside of the sun, we had that huge coronal mass ejection. We had another Planet X detection, very, very good photographs, and for the first time, we actually detected 3 of these objects. 3. Now, to me, that was amazing. You know, I've been working on this now for it's past my 20th year in research and investigating this matter, and it's only been the last 3.5 years that I've actually made some stunning and incredible groundwork on detecting this object and basically wrapping my mind around it and coming up with this hardcore evidence. But right at the end of April, I was actually having a conversation with Mark from the Blue Kool-Aid channel. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, you know, things are going to be a little quiet, and give it just a few days. We'll be at the end of the month, and we will probably get a glimpse of this object again. Because, folks, I've been charting this thing for years now. And that's where I came up with this 28-day, 29-day rotation around the sun. So that's basically this object's eccentric elliptical orbit. I have some video footage put together for all of you to help explain all of that. We're going to take a look at these coronal mass ejections that just blew off, because this sunspot is super active now. We're actually starting to get our first views of it as it's peeking out from the left side of the sun as we view it from Earth. I've been watching it all day. I've been gathering as much information as possible. And it does seem that NASA and also NOAA are watching it very closely, because they know about this activity that it's been producing for the last week and a half. As this sunspot starts to turn towards Earth, it does have the possibility once again to degenerate. However, I don't see that occurring at all. And with the strength and the power of these coronal mass ejections that formed on the back side of the sun and now to the left side as it's going to be facing us here in about 5 to 7 days, we're really going to be seeing it. And there is a lot of activity. I have some high definition photographs for you, some high definition video for you guys to take a look at. But first things first, while more people are filtering in here, you always hear me complaining about YouTube since the beginning of 2018. Well, lo and behold, all kinds of news articles were coming out over the last 48 hours about YouTube, their parent company, which is called Alphabet, and all kinds of information about Google. So the parent company is called Alphabet, and Alphabet owns Google, owns YouTube, and all of their other products. And they have a board of directors. They have investors. And in 2018, I don't know what it was, but YouTube, got a bug up their rear end, and they kind of started hating on conspiracy channels and truther channels and all kinds of other creators. And this all had to do with some of their advertisers being upset because the YouTube advertising, the advertisements were being shown on violent content and all kinds of stuff like that. But it really didn't have anything to do with people in the conspiracy field or the truth community. Had nothing to do with them. It was a misstep and a mismanagement by the YouTube advertising team, the people that are responsible for their clients. Now listen, folks, I spent 22 years in the international advertising industry, and I had huge clients like Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Lines and even NASCAR for 4 years. Your clients are your responsibility, and you're supposed to take care of them. So I'm sure NASCAR wouldn't want their commercials or their advertising being seen on porno channels or, channels that have to do with violence. So that's what happened at YouTube back in 2018. And it started right at the end of 2017. So they just decided, okay, let's all of us nerds sit down and try to figure this out. Well, they tried to revamp the whole system. They put all kinds of new rules and regulations into effect. And what they did is they literally buried the creators. Without the people that make the videos, YouTube is nothing. Zero. Spit on the sidewalk. And they left all these creators out in the cold. Even some people that actually use YouTube as a business. They turned their back on all of these people. And now Today, they are $70 billion in the hole. That's right. I said $70 billion in lost revenue. Apparently, that didn't make the people at the Alphabet Corporation too damn happy. Because when it was all said and done, and they did their little internal investigation, YouTube got the blame. Why did they get the blame? Because the advertising revenue was so far down that it cost the company $70 billion. Yeah, let me show you guys something before we get into this Planet X information, because I was actually very, very excited about this. Yeah. Anyways, because I was watching some of the money market channels, business channels, this morning, and bingo, I heard about it. So the headline on CNBC, which I actually can't stand these people, but we'll use their article anyways. Alphabet had more than $70 billion in market cap wiped out, and it says YouTube is one of the problems. Folks, let me tell you something. There is no company that can afford to lose $70 billion. And this is simply because of all of these little nerdy types, all of these conservatives that work at YouTube and work at Google. I listened to a gentleman who left YouTube. He was a top executive there and a computer engineer. And he said the reason why he left is because these people were just plain damn screwed up, and they didn't know what to do with the problem that they had. And the problem that they had is they should have fired people that were responsible for accounts, meaning advertisers' accounts. Those people weren't doing their jobs. Because those people at YouTube were not doing their jobs correctly, YouTube creators suffered. And they're still suffering. But now, the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, is now being forced to make all kinds of changes. And some of those changes are pretty big. There's going to be some big changes on the copyright claims. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube that go ahead and file these false copyright claims. If you use 10 seconds, 15 seconds of a video or a song, the next thing you know, they're filing a copyright strike. I just went through the whole gambit with them, and it cost me $1,000 in legal fees, $1,000 of my own damn money to solve a problem with YouTube that was YouTube's fault. See, that doesn't make sense. Also, one of the big factors, and listen folks, I have to address somebody personally right here within this video, and it is that jerk-off that goes by the name of Chris Potter, who constantly harasses me and Dr. Albers. One of the big changes that is coming here on YouTube is the harassment and the doxing of other people on YouTube. They're going to be rolling out these changes ASAP. So if you're out there and you're making these ridiculous debunking videos and you're harassing people and you're doxing people, your YouTube channel is going to get terminated permanently. They also have a new way of banning your IP address. So just because they terminate your YouTube channel, boo, that means that, yeah, you can go and open up a new one, but soon you're not going to be able to, because that IP address is tapped into your router. So that means you would have to cancel your cable and internet and then reorder it in order for them to give you a new IP address. Yeah, that's right. So listen up, Mr. Chris Potter. I'm tired of your harassment. I'm tired of your doxing, and your days are numbered. And so are all of the other idiots on YouTube that like to sit there and do their little debunking. But anyways, folks, YouTube lost $70 billion because of their mistake in trying to crush the truth community and conspiracy channels and all of these other little channel creators. And what the internal investigation found out is all of those views, all of those ads that appear on all of those videos, that was the revenue, and other topics. So why would you kick yourself in the teeth? Didn't make any sense, did it? See, that's what you get for putting little geeky, nerdy children in charge of a multi-billion-dollar company that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. That's right. I could run YouTube. I could run circles around these jokers any freaking day. So now they are literally eating crow. And that eating crow, that piece of crow, cost $70 billion. Yeah. If I was sitting on the board of directors at the Alphabet Corporation, I would fire Susan Wojcicki. And I would fire the entire advertising department at the boob tube. Yeah. But this is all over mainstream media right now, folks, and this is a big deal. So now they're supposed to start to lighten things up. They're supposed to get rid of some of these algorithms that don't give you notifications, that bury YouTube channels like mine and others. Because now they're starting to find out, oh, well, I guess if the subscribers want to watch this kind of stuff, they should have the ability to do so. Well, that's right. That's why you subscribe to a channel, geek. You subscribe to a channel so you could be notified of the content so you can watch it. Ooh, did they teach you that at MIT, Mr. Geek? Exactly. Sorry, folks, I'm fired up today, and quite frankly, I'm kind of happy that YouTube lost $70 billion fucking dollars, because they deserve it. For what they've done to all of the creators on YouTube, they deserve it. And I hope some heads roll. Absolutely. Sorry for using some of that F-bomb there. It just slipped out. But anyways, folks, everybody should be out there clapping their hands, because YouTube's been playing all of these tricks on channels now for the last year, almost year and a half. And hopefully in the next few months, all of this will kind of set itself straight. And for all those bozos that like to harass people on YouTube, and they like to make their stupid debunking videos and doxing people, yeah, your days are numbered. And it's good to see them trying to fix this this frivolous copyright problem that they have. And they obviously don't know anything about federal copyright law. I mean, I studied it in college. I had to deal with it day to day in my job. And I know all about it. And I fight every single claim that gets placed on me. And 99.9 of them are fraudulent. But anyway, anyhow, and anywho, let's get into this this coronal mass ejection and the hell with YouTube and their big money problem. I'm going to bring up this video. And I compiled all of this information today, and it took a little while for it to, for me to get it, because I was waiting for some of these systems to update and get this information out here. And just give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and just stop this real quick. We have the CME tracker up on the screen right now, and this was pretty incredible, because we had two coronal mass ejections that literally blended together. And I've never seen that before. I've been doing this a long, long time, but I've never seen that before. If you pay attention, watch my cursor right here. If you take a look at this white area right here, all the way through there, okay, this is two coronal mass ejections that blended together. That is one hell of a wave of energy. and that is heading towards the Spitzer and Stereo A satellites. Spitzer is a space telescope, and Stereo A, that's one of our Core 2, that's one of our coronagraphs that we watch the sun with. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play, and you'll see this wave, two of them come out. Boom, boom. You see that? Spitzer took a pretty good hit there. That damn thing may not even be working. But anyways, folks, there are the two coronal mass ejections that blended together, blasted the Spitzer Space Telescope, and Stereo A took a pretty good hit. And also the Osiris Rex took a little bit of a hit. We're now looking at the SDO, 171 angstrom, and you can see left side of your screen, that sunspot's now moving towards us. Here's the 304, and you could see all of the activity popping. And it's quite spectacular to watch this. You know, the sun's a magnificent creature, and we couldn't live without it. I mean, we all know that. But, you know, the sun can have its days where it could be very detrimental to our planet. We may be looking at several of those days upcoming. I'm not trying to fearmonger or scare anybody. It's nothing that's going to end the planet or destroy it. But we could definitely see some situations with our satellites, GPS, electrical grids, and the induction of additional seismic activity. But we never want to see one of these coronal mass ejections blasted directly towards the Earth, especially one that is very, very large. If one does impact the Earth that is very, very large, well, that changes the whole ball game. But yeah, I was up very, very early this morning, and just as I was looking at this, Mark texted me, and he said, "Holy hell!" He said, "Take a look at this." And I'm going to just go ahead and stop this for 1 second. Just jump back just a little bit here. And he said, "Hey, take a look at this." And I said to him, I says, "You know what?" I said, "I'm still taking a few sips of coffee, but I'm already looking at it, and I've already got screenshots of it, and holy hell." And I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes what my holy hell moment was about, because it was once again pretty incredible. And I have some additional information that I'm going to go over with all of you, and hopefully what I tell you answers a lot of questions. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run. You're going to see this coronal mass ejection blow off right here. This is the stereo head Core 2 coronagraph. Then just watch over in this area here. Now there was actually an object detected right where my cursor is, and I'm going to show you that photograph, and it's going to amaze you, because it amazed me. It's going a little too fast in the coronagraphs, but like I always do, I slow everything down and I look very carefully frame by frame. Sure enough, just as Mark found, I was looking at it right when he sent me the text message, and I think together we both had that oh my. So what we're looking at here is the two coronal mass ejections. Now on the Core 2, what you're looking at here, these coronagraphs, I detected 4 hours of missing time on there. I'm just going to go back to that real quick. There was 4 hours missing. And I don't know, they must have cut it out of there for some reason, or that blast overloaded the detectors on the spacecraft, and maybe something occurred. Maybe they lost communication for that 4-hour period, because that does happen, folks. This is from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. This is a beautiful close-up shot of this sunspot. This sunspot is numbered as far as the size. It's numbered as a 260. And a 260 is in square kilometers. Let's just put it this way, folks. That sunspot is massive. And I mean massive. More than, I think, close to 200 kilometers in diameter. It is massive. And that's why we're seeing all of these coronal mass ejections spewing out of this sunspot. Now, I had a long conversation with Dr. Albers about sunspots this afternoon, and I was asking her, is it possible for these sunspots to actually regenerate like this one has? And, sunspots kind of have a negative and a positive zone. And this is a little hard to explain, but there's a little barrier between that negative and positive area. And it is when that little zone in between degenerates and the negative and the positive touch. And then bingo, that is something that causes these coronal mass ejections. When that sunspot was cruising by us 2 weeks ago, the positive side degenerated, literally almost disappeared by the time it was Earth facing. And then it made its way all the way to the backside of the sun. And that's when it encountered this Planet X object. At that point, when that interaction occurred, it seems that the positive connection, the positive side of that sunspot, regenerated instantly. What did we have? Boom! A huge coronal mass ejection. And it has been lit up ever since. And as the sun is rotating, remember, this Planet X object is also orbiting the sun almost at the same speed as the sun's rotation, which means it's locked in. As it is locked in, it's locked in really close to this sunspot position. And that is probably why we are seeing all of these CMEs being produced by this lonely sunspot. Folks, we're right in the very, very beginnings of a solar minimum, okay? The sun's been going to sleep now for months. This should not even be happening. This should not be happening. However, we have that other factor, the X factor. Kind of ironic, huh? So if you throw in that X factor, yeah, it kind of upsets the apple cart. Things aren't like they should be. And I'm going to be quite honest. This is something that is kind of worrying me, because once again, as we continue to move through this 11-year cycle, we're not even, we haven't even touched the beginning stages of it yet. It's going to be working overtime on our magnetic or our magnetopause, our shield that protects the Earth from solar radiation and these heavily charged electrons that come from the sun. It is our protection, our shield. Well, that's going to be decreasing because of the sun's magnetic field in this solar minimum. That solar minimum lasts for 11 years. So if things are getting dicey already, just imagine what it's going to be like in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. I mean, I may sound kind of excited. It's really nothing to be excited about. It's actually a little scary because we're dealing with so many unknown factors. Anything could happen at any time. And then you ask yourself, how the hell do you prepare for this? I don't know. You know, I mean, as far as regular preparation goes, make sure you have all of those things we've talked about before. You know, batteries, food, water, things of that nature, canned goods, a way to protect yourself. You know, maybe start checking out some, prepping websites and just get some ideas. But yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. We're looking at the SDO again, and it was just showing you some of the huge filament releases. This is going just back and forth. I'm just showing you these explosions that were occurring on the sun. And this is in extreme ultraviolet. And this is showing you that whole sunspot region right here. I'm just going to stop it right there. You have this whole sunspot region. All of this area back here is very, very active. And this is what's turning around this way. This was just a few days ago. So if you look at these two areas here and here, the Earth is right where my cursor is. Right there. So any type of blast, if the Earth is here and those blasts come out in a huge halo, we're going to be hit with it. And we haven't been hit with a coronal mass ejection for quite a long time, but you could see the activity right here, and it's definitely very active. A lot of bursts, a lot of filament releases, and a lot of connections and reconnections that you see. It's a little blurry, but you could see the coronal loops going back and forth, connecting, reconnecting. This was just the last couple of days on the stereo ahead, 304 angstroms, and we're just taking another look at these two areas in white. Those are the areas that we are watching very, very closely. Those are the areas with all of the activity. And there's a lot of activity too. I mean, it's quite a bit there. This is a close-up view. Little blurry, but that's how it is with the stereo spacecraft, especially when there is a lot of activity. It interferes with the camera, and all of these particles are bouncing off of the detectors, and that's why you get this kind of weird look over here. It looks real pixelated. Other than that, it would be clear. Yeah. And this is just going from the third into the fourth, and this is showing you the double burst of two coronal mass ejections. This is where I spotted the 4 hours of missing time, and I don't think they were trying to hide anything because there's really nothing to hide. I think that the coronagraph, the spacecraft, just probably got overloaded and literally shut down. Sometimes they will shut it down on purpose just to protect the electronics on board, because they will get fried. You're dealing with a lot of solar radiation, and we all know that radiation destroys electronics. If you watch this very closely, folks, you see that object right there? I'm going to circle it. I have some still photographs I'm going to show you. You see that object right there? Let's just go back one frame. This is the very beginning stage of this coronal mass ejection that me and Mark were looking at about 3 o'clock this morning. As it starts, you're going to see a pretty good plume of ejecta come out of the sun. At the same time, this literally illuminates this object. Now, whenever we're done viewing this, I'm going to go into some other info with you guys to give you some background on what this object may possibly be. And over the years, I've bounced different ideas around, but over the course of this week that just passed, I was doing all kinds of legitimate research. I mean, literally reading all of these abstracts that are produced and written by astrophysicists and professional astronomers that work for some very, very credible universities, like Harvard and Cornell. These guys aren't dummies. And they've been involved in brown dwarf research for a long time. And if you ask any astronomer or astrophysicist, what would you like to study the most? And they find these brown dwarf stars just absolutely fascinating. And it's only been maybe 25 years since they've actually picked up the speed with brown dwarf research. And now they classify them into different classes and so on and so forth. But these objects aren't brown either. The majority of them are blue because they're kind of cold objects. But we'll get into all of that here soon. So we're going to go ahead and just stop that right there. And as I was going frame by frame, I said to myself, holy hell, look at that. Now, I have a still photograph that I took, and we're going to go ahead and zoom into it. But this is part of the video that I've put together for you guys. So you can see the huge halo. It goes out into space. Here is a close-up. I'm just going to go ahead and stop it right there. Here is a close-up of that object. Now, I'm going to pull up the still photograph, and we're going to zoom all the way in to this object. And we're going to be able to see some of the gases streaming off of this as it made its way around the sun in its orbit, and it literally provoked this coronal mass ejection. And as it did, bingo, that is one of the main ways that we are able to detect this object. Other than that, folks, it doesn't give off any of its own light. It may have a very, very faint glow to it, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, because I came upon some research today by a few astrophysicists and astronomers who have been studying brown dwarfs for a long period of time. They have very, very good evidence about the characteristics of these objects. But here's the thing. They have never seen one of these objects orbiting a yellow star like ours. A hydrogen helium monster like our sun. So we'll get into all of that shortly. I'm a little excited because, I found out a lot over the last couple of days. A lot of reading to the point where I have a blasting headache, but it is what it is. I want answers. I want knowledge. I want to know what we're in for. And I did try to convert this to a higher definition, and it kind of blurred on me. But the original actually just looked much, much better. And whenever I pull up that still photograph, I'm going to show you. Now, I have some animation here for you, okay? And I've had this animation for, oh boy, probably a couple of years now. And I've never showed this animation to anybody. And what this is depicting is a brown dwarf star orbiting a host star. And as it does, as it gets closer to the host star, you start to see some of the surface area and the gases being released. Now, that's probably where the mythological Nibiru gets its 1 million mile streaming tail of debris. Okay? Because there's really no credible evidence that that even exists. And for it to be 1 million miles of debris, well, what kind of debris? If it's getting close to the sun, a lot of that's going to be vaporized into a gas. So this little animation is going to show you these orbits that I talk about and that I've detected with this object. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play. I may stop it here in between. Now, as you see, the object is passing by the sun, and you see those gases streaming off of this. It was kind of ironic. I remembered this video once I took a look at the still photograph. Because when I looked at the still photograph, I noticed some of this gaseous material streaming behind this object as it was getting caught up in this coronal mass ejection. Now, brown dwarf stars in their natural habitat deep in space, if they're not orbiting a star, they are relatively cold. Surface temperatures ranging from 250 to 350 degrees. For that object, that's cold. These objects tend to be blue, kind of almost looking like Jupiter, but I don't want to get into the whole Jupiter thing, folks, because there's people out there on YouTube that are trying to tell you folks that, you know, Jupiter's a star, Jupiter's Nibiru, Jupiter's Planet X, and that's a complete lie. That's just literally impossible. Now, real quick, we're watching an animation for a brown dwarf orbiting a star. Now, once these objects get caught in the sun's gravitational pull, it could take hundreds of years to pull it all the way in. It could take thousands of years. Who knows? But once this object gets stuck in the sun's gravitational field and the sun pulls it in, the sun's going to pull it in and that object's going to fight back. Depending on the mass of that object, that will tell you how big that fight's going to be. Because if that object has a large mass, then it's probably going to fight its way as the sun draws it in. As the sun draws it in closer and closer and closer, eventually it will set into an orbit. Now, some of the papers that I was reading over the last couple of days, these astronomers, they have been using the WISE sky survey, and they've been able to view many brown dwarf stars, but many, many light years away. And it seemed that the stars that they were orbiting, they all had these sharp, acute, eccentric, elliptical orbits, just like our Planet X star, stellar core object. I don't know why they settle in with that type of diagonal orbit, but they do. And there is a ton of evidence out there that that proves this. So it's just not my opinion. There is a ton of evidence by astronomers and astrophysicists who have master's degrees coming out of their ass. Okay? So I would say they would probably know a little bit better than me because they've been researching this probably 20 years. They have all of the data that I will never be able to get my hands on. And they know. And they study the light curves of these objects as they are passing in front of their host star. Now, there are objects like this that are just roguely floating through space. They're not attached to any star. That's the period when they're cold. And they also have weather, like we have weather here on Earth. They have cloud patterns that zip around them, and they would almost look like Jupiter, but they're nothing like Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant. These objects are not. We don't even know what the core of Jupiter is really made up of. So for people to say that Jupiter is Nibiru or Jupiter is a star, they're absolutely wrong. Because, like I've said before, it would take 80 Jupiters to equal the mass for Jupiter to ignite into a star, and it would be a faint red dwarf, which would barely give off any light, and it would shrink in size. So that's just not possible. So you guys really have to watch who you're listening to, because people will just throw anything out there just for some YouTube views, and they don't give a damn about the actual science and the truth. I'm after the truth and the science. So this object is orbiting a host star. You see it is very, very close to that host star. Some people say, oh, come on, Scott, that thing would burn up. No, it would not burn up. It would not explode. It would not disintegrate. These objects end up absorbing a lot of the energy from its host star that it's orbiting. And then it changes completely. And this is a conversation that me and Dr. Albers were having hours ago. So let's just say, for instance, that we have this object orbiting the sun for 10 years. It's orbiting the sun very, very closely. All of its atmosphere, all of its so-called brown dwarf weather has been stripped away, like Mars. Everything's gone, just stripped away. And the sun's heat has now literally changed the surface of this object. It is very, very possible that this object's mass has increased, even though it may have shed some of its top surface and gases. But its mass may have increased. Very interesting. So let's just say, for instance, that we wanted to get a good look at this object. And hypothetically, imaginary, we were able to pull that object all the way back towards Earth and put it in an orbit with Earth so it can cool down. And then we were able to jump on a little space shuttle and fly over to this object. Would we be able to land on it? Would we be able to walk on it? You're damn right we would. It would literally look like you were standing like near a volcano after the lava flows hardened. That's basically what it would probably look like. A melted, solidified, hard, rocky, metallic type surface. So that's why they call these objects a cross between a star and a planet. Too big to be a planet, not big enough to be a star. They could never ignite internally. They just don't have the mass to do so. But this object, we know for a fact, has been orbiting the sun since at least 2007. Its orbit has shrunk all the way down to approximately this 28 days. It's literally locked in with the sun. Is this the main reason why mainstream media, mainstream astronomy, and science won't come out and say, wow, we have a new visitor in our solar system, and it's here to stay. We found our second sun. But yet they talk about the hypothetical planet 9 with a 20,000-year orbit that no one's ever seen. And 2 astronomers drew it up on a chalkboard and submitted it to the world as fact. No observational evidence, no photographs, none, zero. But yet, here on Planet X News, you have the best observational evidence that any person in the public has seen. No wonder they hate my guts at NASA and YouTube. Because we have shown the proof. I mean, for God's sakes, me and Dr. Albers should be on the front page of every Time magazine, astronomy magazine. We should be, doing tours and interviews and exposing what we found. Hell no. They're too damn worried about it causing a panic amongst the world population. Just yesterday, once again, the United States Navy just came out with another statement about aliens. This is the second statement in 2 weeks. This statement that they came out with yesterday was a statement about them being worried about the health effects of extraterrestrial life interfering with humans. Did any of you hear that? I watched it on Fox News. It was on Tucker Carlson. He talked about it with Nick Pope, the UFO investigator from the UK. Yeah. The health effects from the interaction with extraterrestrials. So, I don't know, folks. Maybe some disclosure is coming around. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and let this animation run. You're going to see how this orbit. Okay, this is not really the orbit that I think this object is in. I think it's in a much tighter orbit than this elliptical here. I think if you move the orbit closer to the sun here and stretch it out here and shrink it a little bit, and I have a diagram of that, I think we hit the nail on the head. But you can see how this object is locked in with the sun. It's locked in just like all of our other planets. So if you tilt it to the side, that's what you have. Why are we constantly capturing this object in those angles around the sun? Every single one of my photo captures over all of these years is depicting just that. And that's where I was coming up with my theory that, damn, this thing must be in a very sharp, acute, eccentric, elliptical orbit. Now, real quick, just let me go back just a little bit here. Okay, now you see how this object is now starting to glow? Well, these astronomers who have been studying these brown dwarf stars that are light years away, they noticed that these brown dwarf stars, once they got locked in with their host star, they started to glow. Now, even though these objects do not emit light and can only be seen in the infrared spectrum, the closer they get to a host star, the more energy they are going to take from that host star. So it literally, the host star literally changes the complete composition of this object. It changes it. It would literally have to, because of the temperatures coming from a star, whether it be a blue star, red star, yellow star. And our star's pretty damn hot. So there's a very, very high possibility that in the years that this object has been orbiting the sun has changed it. Literally changed it. I believe that there still is some shedding of surface area, but not much like we saw in the past years. Vaporizing of gases, because remember, this object goes around the sun to the backside of the sun, very, very close. Then it goes down below the elliptical, and then when it goes down further, it starts to cool. As it comes back up and around, it gets reheated. So there's a very, very high possibility that just like this object on your screen, as it gets close to the sun, it starts to glow just a little bit. And that is probably one of the main reasons why we're able to see it during those coronal mass ejections. Because that is a very, very violent place to be. It's equivalent to hundreds of atomic bombs blowing up. All of those electrons bombarding this object and photons. This object is literally absorbing them. That would cause, a slight glowing factor. But nothing that's going to last forever. Just shortly as it's making its way at its closest point to the sun. And then it leaves that closest point. It goes down below the ecliptic. It cools slightly. And then in about 10 days, bingo, it's coming right back up. And it's making its orbit again. And this is the position that it's been locked into for at least the last 2 years, maybe more. But I really started to detect this in early 2017, around March. So it's been 2017, 2018. Okay, so yeah, we're going on almost 3 years now that this object has been pretty close, locked in on this 28-day orbit around the sun. There was a paper that I read this morning where they detected a brown dwarf star that had other smaller moons orbiting around it, and it orbited its host blue star every 4 days. 4 days. Man, that baby's cooking. But that blue star wasn't as large as our yellow star. So that just goes to show you, folks, if people tell you that you don't know what you're talking about, or there's no way that any of this can happen, it's impossible, yeah, just walk away, because they're ignorant in the sense of they don't have the knowledge to even hold a conversation with you. So I've been working on this now for a couple of days, and really trying to ingest what is happening out there in our inner solar system and with our sun. And I don't think astronomers and astrophysicists that are actually on the inside of this program, because I look, there's just no way that NASA and the European Space Agency and the space agencies of the world, there's just no way that they don't know that this is happening. So they've been scrambling for years. That's why they're doing the chemtrailing, the stratospheric aerosol injections. They're trying to bounce the damn infrared radiation and solar radiation back out into space. They know it's the main cause for the severe climate change. They know it's the main cause for the North Pole, the Arctic melting. They know that the extremes on this planet are going to intensify. Do they know a hell of a lot more than us? You bet they do. This just may be just as big as aliens landing on the White House lawn, as they say. Because the detection of this object and the proof and the disclosure is the biggest cover-up in modern man. There's no doubt. Because we already know that extraterrestrial life exists. It would be impossible to say that it doesn't. That if you say that extraterrestrial life could not exist and does not exist, that's completely asinine. The galaxies, the universe is just too damn big. So this is the biggest cover-up in modern mankind. They think that this upsets the apple cart. This throws all physics out the door. This throws all astronomy out the door. They all got to start from the beginning. They got to rewrite the books. But I think the biggest thing is fear. Maybe if you explain it to people the way that I do, maybe they wouldn't have the fear. We've had plenty of time over the years to educate people, educate the world population, and adjust. Man has been doing it for thousands of years. What makes now any damn different? I'll tell you what makes it different. Big government and the power-hungry fools in politics. Yeah. That's that. So I drew this diagram up, and this is pretty close to what I was talking about. This object is actually inside of the orbit of Mercury. It does not disturb Mercury. It cannot collide with Mercury. So this object gets really close to the sun. And like I said, as it falls below the ecliptic, it starts to cool a little bit. But then in 10 to 14 days, it's making its way back up. So we're looking at 28 days, maybe 30. But I'm guessing because it's locked in with the sun, it's more like 28 because the sun's rotation is 27.5 days. So I rounded it off to about 28 days. Where do we catch this object? This is where we normally catch it. We catch it during these coronal mass ejections, and because of the orbit and angle of the space cameras and the Earth orbiting the sun, it kind of always looks like it's either in the left or the upper right or upper left-hand corner of the sun. I've actually captured it along the equator of the sun. I've actually captured it at the 7 o'clock position, the 9 o'clock position, the 1 o'clock position. So I've captured it in many, many different areas as it's been orbiting the sun. That much is a fact. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play, and I'll get to those still photographs and I'll show you. I'll zoom in real close, and we'll see what happens with this this Sunspot 2740. Remember, they renamed it, and it's going to be cooking past us here within the next 7 days. Probably in the next 48 hours, we'll start to get better views of it. And I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here. We'll get rid of this. And we'll get into the Planet X pictures. We'll let this grab the photos. Oh, this damn thing has to load. I have so much data in this one file. It's just a pain in the ass. But it's going to be pretty interesting as this sunspot moves around to face Earth. We'll see what happens. Come on, picture. Sometime today. Let's get rid of this file. Let's bring this bad boy up. And here you go, folks. Bingo. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. And this is what I was talking about. As this coronal mass ejection occurred and this object was moving by, you can see there are particles being stripped away. You can see it just barely. Some here, and some right there. That is one hell of a photograph. So what do you guys think about that picture? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, folks, I think we're going to be in for some very, very trying times over the course of the next decade. But I don't think that it's going to be this earth-ending apocalyptic catastrophe. I think some things are going to change. There's just no doubt about that. But just like everything else, folks, we change also. We adapt. We figure it out. That's why having the knowledge of what is happening is the most important thing there is. It's not about YouTube views. It's not about selling books and t-shirts. But it's educating the world population that this is what's happening. This is what could happen. And we are already seeing the direct effects. It's already starting. We've been seeing it for the last couple of years. I just never threw in the factor of that grand solar minimum. That has changed everything. And in all actuality, it has actually sped things up. That's actually my biggest worry. Yeah. But anyways, folks, I wanted to bring this information to you once again. Look, sorry if I sounded like super excited, but I love science. I do like what I do as far as this type of research. Maybe I missed my calling in life. I don't know. I don't think I could ever hang around a bunch of stuffy, geeky astronomers and astrophysicists. I don't know, man. I don't think I could do that. I'd probably be like the lone wolf. But, I do find it very, very fascinating. And yes, in some aspects, it is a little scary. But it's even more scary if you don't know about it. It's like walking around that corner and somebody jumps out and scares you. You could walk around that same corner and know the person's there and they still jump out at you, but you're not that scared. Why? Because you had that knowledge. You see where I'm going with that? I thought so. So we need to continue. We need to continue to gain the knowledge. We need to just keep on investigating, keep on researching, keep on uncovering the truth. And spread the truth. More people will come to Planet X News. More people will maybe start watching other channels that are actually credible, that don't put make-believe videos together for your entertainment. Because I don't consider this entertainment. But this is one hell of a capture once again. I'm going to put this through the new enhancement program later on today. And I'm going to see what I come up with. But what you're looking at on your screen right there, that's raw. That's raw, untouched. No color changes. No contrast. Nothing. Raw data, baby. Right here on Planet X News. We uncover the truth. That's a pretty damn good picture. And it would be pretty hard for somebody to sit there in front of you and tell you what you're looking at doesn't exist. That's the point right there, folks, where you take your finger and you stick it right in their eye. Poke them right in the eye, man, because they're trying to pull a fast one on you. Observational evidence, number one. And that's exactly what we've always had here on this YouTube channel. The best observational evidence when it comes to this Planet X object. And there are more of them out there. As of right now, I can clarify that, yeah, there's definitely 3 of them. We captured them a few weeks ago. Are there more? There may be smaller. There may be smaller ones floating around, but they're not within the camera's view. And that's the problem that I have. Because I can't see it, I can't come out and say, oh yeah, this object has 10 moons. I'm not just going to go out there and make things up like other YouTube channels do. Now, if I had a photograph of it from one of the space cameras and I could prove it, then I would say it. But I definitely know that there are 3 of these objects. 2 of them seem to be of pretty good size. Bigger, way bigger than Jupiter. Way bigger than Jupiter. Probably 5 to 7 times the size of Jupiter. And these objects definitely have mass. A lot of it. And that is one of the ways that they are able to fight the sun's gravitational pull. So it's always in this battle with the sun. But it is drawing energy from the sun. There's no doubt about that. And that's just not my opinion. There are professionals out there, like I said, that have 10, 20 PhDs and master's degrees sticking out of their ears. Okay? Just not my opinion or my theory. Very, very interesting. Hey, listen, folks, real quick, if you're not subscribed to Mark's channel, the Blue Kool-Aid channel, yeah, get over there and subscribe and support him. And I'd really, really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Dr. Albers' YouTube channel. And hey, don't forget, folks, if you want to join our private network, the link is in the description box right under all of our videos. And join that private network, because still there are things that I can't display here on YouTube. YouTube's not out of the woods yet. They still have some huge problems. I think we're going to be going through another one of these restructuring deals, and they may clean house again. And like I said, you may come to YouTube one day and you may try to find Planet X, and Planet X don't exist. The Planet X News channel is gone. Folks, I did a little experiment today. And I'm actually just going to show you guys. I'm going to show you how they have buried all of the information related to Planet X. Okay, we're over here at Google. Okay? And let's just go up here and let's type in Planet X. Okay? Let's type in Planet X right up there and let's hit enter. Okay? And let's take a look at what comes up. Now, granted, my YouTube channel has been around for almost 4 years. I have a website. I have a very successful Facebook page for all of you guys, Planet X News. I know all about computers. I know all about ranking. I know all about indexing of websites and URLs. And I've been around for a long time. So we just typed in Planet X. What do you think one of the first things that should come up on Google should be? It should be Planet X News. Well, here's what comes up. In-depth hypothetical Planet X. NASA Solar System Exploration. Yeah. solarsystem.nasa.gov. Here's the next thing that comes up. Nibiru Cataclysm, Wikipedia. Yeah, here's where they get you, folks. Here's the next thing that comes up. Planets beyond Neptune, Wikipedia. Look what comes up next. Road bikes, mountain bikes, planetx.co.uk. There's a company over in the UK called Planet X Bikes. They make mountain bikes and stuff. Yeah. What do you think about that? The solar system's hidden planet X may finally be spotted soon on CNET. And this is just junk. This is all junk. Look, do you see any of my videos in here? Do you see any of Planet X News? Do you see any of my videos here? Hell no. You see Coast to Coast AM, Planet X, Nibiru, Meteors, and Super what the hell does that say? Oh, Super Bolides. Thought that said Super Bodies. Coming close to Earth. That was on April 6, 2019. Is NASA hiding Planet X and Nibiru? Infographics show, August of 2018. Folks, I live stream every single day. I have produced over 2008 informational videos on YouTube on Planet X News. Yeah. Here, 9 hours ago, Planet X. Rap Op 10 Berg. Who the hell is that? Yeah, here's the videos that come up. Coast to Coast AM. Experts say Planet X will cause a huge pole shift in the near future. That's nothing. That's a complete lie. Here you go. More Coast to Coast. Yeah. You don't see none of my videos, do you? What you see up here is garbage. The disinformation garbage. Here, let's go down here more. Vivos, this is the guy, the billionaire who builds those absolutely awesome underground shelters and survival units. Planet X Nibiru, Ancient Astronauts, NASA, UFOs, X-Facts. Xfacts.com. Have you seen anything for Planet X News yet? No, you haven't. Bingo. Finally, we get down to Planet X News. The sky was full of UFOs today. This was the video that I showed you guys the other day of those creepy little things zipping around in the sky up there, which actually are probably pretty damn big. And there you go. Let's go to page 2. Just to show you how they bury this stuff. Here you go. Don't ever read this crap British tabloid, The Express UK. Nibiru spotted. Is blue planet over Earth proof of Planet X? Weird. Every single day, folks, they have the same damn title, the same damn story, and it's all disinformation. But here you go. I mean, just go ahead and read it. You don't see nothing with Planet X News, did you? You saw one video from the other day, and that's because it had something to do with a UFO and not Planet X. Yeah. Ain't that something, huh? Here, let's go to videos and let's see what comes up. Yeah, more garbage. February 6th. Was the Planet X Nibiru system really captured by KCRA? I guess that's a TV station. Yeah. Yeah, there was a helicopter, yeah. And it was just a photo anomaly with the sun. And here's the videos. Look, August 6th, or August 16th, 2018. What the hell year are we in? We're in 2019 in May. Shouldn't my videos be up here too? You know why they're not up there? Look, this video made it. That's because it was based on a CME blast. Yeah, one video. I have 2,008 videos based on this subject matter with all the proof in the world. Yeah. You see what they've done? You see what they've done to the Planet X News website? This website was getting about anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 clicks per hour. They've got it all the way down. Look at that. 14 clicks. PlanetXnews.org. They buried it, folks. So this is the main reason why I was telling you folks I was moving over to this private network. Because I'm sick and tired of this fight. And if it's worth the $10 a month to you guys in the near future, if you can afford it, just to be on the safe side, if they ever decide to dispose of my YouTube channel, you're not going to know where to find me. It will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And I truly believe that YouTube's going to be going through another restructuring because they lost $70 billion. They should just let me run YouTube. What do you think, guys? They should just let me run YouTube. Let me replace Susan Wojcicki, kick her out, And you know what? I'll make her my secretary. She could go get me coffee and, you know, stuff like that. Let me run YouTube. I'll turn that $70 billion loss into a $100 billion profit. Yeah. But that just goes to show you, folks, how they have scrubbed me off of Google. I'm not making it up. I just showed you. Yeah. There's always that huge fight against the real truth. And it's always going to be like that. Always. But anyways, folks, I wanted to bring all that info for you. And I thought that was pretty spectacular. And make sure that you guys have your notifications set up with that little black bell there on YouTube. Matter of fact, I'm just going to run over this real quick. They said that they're going to be changing some things on YouTube with this trending page, and also the recommendations for videos for other people, because they've just literally been, you know, crushing all of these other YouTube channels. Like, here's a very good example right here. What the hell is relatable situations? Oh, relatable. Pfft, sorry. Yeah, I'm real smart, right? I can't even read. Relatable situations anyone can recognize. Funny moments. One day ago, 5 million views. 5 million in one day. And look what the thumbnail is. Some dippy chick who broke a nail. Yeah. Here. Last to sink wins $10,000 challenge. 2.8 million views in one day. But anyways, let's just use their video as an example. I'm going to pause that right there, and we'll go to their channel, and we'll use the little. Oh God, what's this girl doing? Putting a spider on her head. So if you come over here and you hit the subscribe button, she has 1.5 million subscribers. Okay, so once you hit subscribe, you see the little black bell. Okay, if you have failed in the future to click on that black bell, you have to click on it. See what it says? You'll get all notifications. So you have to click on that bell and make sure your notifications are set up properly. And if you're using a cell phone app on your cell phone for YouTube, go into the settings, go into where it says notifications, and make sure that it is set up correctly, because they do have their little sneaky ways of unsubscribing people, because I hear that all the time. So I'm going to unsubscribe from this crazy 123 Go YouTube channel, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some more research, and I'm going to work on that photograph, see if I can make it a little bit more clear. But folks, yes, make sure that you are constantly staying in touch with Planet X News. I will try to bring new information every single day. You can guarantee that. And, you know, hit the thumbs up button. It kind of works into the YouTube matrix. And also share the videos and the live streams on social media. You never know. If you turn one person onto the information and they start asking questions, that's a good thing. All right, folks, I'm glad I was able to bring this information to all of you. Stay tuned. Be very, very safe out there. And don't forget, folks, very, very bad weather moving in and moving across the United States. Watch your weather. Be safe and don't drive through flooded streets. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Take care, folks.